Hey guys, welcome to another video. I'm just going to start with a few older clips of Gabbana, just to compare against where we currently are in our training today. This was back in October 2018, so it was when I had just got her and it was one of our first shows we ever did together. So you can see how big and long and strung out her canter is. She isn't at all collected or together. She's not using her body as best as she could. She looks weak behind compared to how she is now. You can see it's really hard for me to try and rebalance her. I don't get much response from my half halts. It's just really hard to bring her together. Same in this show. This was one of our first international shows together, so it was really busy, lots of tents and people and photographers and trees and screens. So she was very on edge, very unsettled feeling. She didn't feel relaxed at all, and she's really disunited a lot of the course. And it just made it really difficult to find any true rhythm in the course because the canter was really unbalanced. When the canter was like this, it wasn't possible for us to progress any further than this level. Just because the quality of the canter was not good enough, she isn't balanced or together enough. She's a lot of horse for me to ride, still is today. She's a big mare. She's 177 centimeters at the wither now, and I'm only 60 kilograms, so she's a lot of horse for me. The biggest help for us was time and flat work. These videos are from our most recent lesson. We just start warming up over a small fence to change direction, and then I come across the next diagonal again to change direction, but this time I make a flying change, which is something I still find really difficult. You see, the change there was okay, but I actually hadn't even asked her for it yet. She anticipated that I was going to ask, and that's something that I still struggle with. I did give her a pat because she did a relaxed flying change, but as you can see, as we progress through this little warm-up sequence, you can see I still really struggle with getting her not to anticipate the flying change. You can see there in the landing from that fence, it was also difficult for me to rebalance her. I have to be really quick when I sit up, when I jump her, which is something I didn't have to be so sharp with on Urano, but with her it's really important that I use my seat all the time because she's a lot of force to keep together. So we just keep moving through this warm-up sequence. This is really simple. I mean, it's just jumping a fence, changing direction, and then doing a flying change. But it's something that it's been not easy for us in our training. When I got her, she used to jump every time I would fly change. It was something that was really difficult. She doesn't do that anymore, but she still struggles with it. It's not an easy exercise for her. She's naturally a very long horse. You can see there on the landing, I sit down and it takes me a little bit of time to get the canter rebalanced and together. So we just keep moving through this warm-up sequence and asking for the flying change just until the quality improves. You can see here, she's late behind with the change. Again, it's because she knows I'm going to ask and she's really intelligent, and I try in my normal flat work to never fly change in the same place, but when we jump, my trainer likes to do this, and I'm still struggling with getting her not to anticipate because I usually don't let her know when we're going to fly change. I try to always vary it, but when we do this, it's hard. It's still hard for me to deal with her anticipation. You can see there, it takes me a little second to rebalance her. I actually noticed that on the left rein, I don't sit down as quick. When I land on the right rein, I sit up a lot quicker, but on the left I don't, and I think that's a lot to do with the problems I have rebalancing her a little bit after the fences. You can see there, still the flying changes are not perfect, but she's at least starting to wait for when I ask her.
I like that distance the best. You thought there you were getting close. So you freeze in your body, but that was the best distance. I like that. Then the horse has to work. Good.
My trainer wants me to get better at waiting at the base of the fence with her. He also wants me to get used to riding her in a bigger, more together, more rhythmical canter in a smaller space. Because I was in Dubai for 5 years, so the arenas there are very, very spacey, like they're pretty big. And then when I've come back to Europe and I have to now ride in what is a normal size arena, like when I first moved here with Gabbana, I really struggled to even jump a course of cavalettis in an arena like this and keep her balanced and together, because the time was just non-existent for me, because I was used to being riding in such big arenas that I didn't have to think so closely about timing and being very accurate with everything that I do. So yes, this for me has been a big challenge. That last flying change was getting better for sure. She wasn't so tense about it. She didn't anticipate when I was going to ask. She actually waited for me to ask her to change before actually changing, because she sometimes just decides that she knows I'm going to ask her to change, so she just does it. But it's really important that she has to wait for my leg aid. You can see we start warming up over a little oxer now. One thing I want you to note every time I jump this oxer is that I let her fall in on her right shoulder, and that causes me a problem as we progress through the training. Not a big problem, but something that definitely is linked to not using my arena space well enough after having ridden in so many big arenas. These little problems, they start to creep in. You can see there, she lands. I should actually be out in the corner, but I'm already way more towards the midline. You can see, put the fences up a little bit. I'm still trying to ride the same as I did with the small fences. I'm trying to balance her, keep her together, but without killing the canter and making it too small. I didn't ride that jump nice. I didn't have a good enough canter rhythm. I was too slow. I was doing exactly what I said I shouldn't be doing. This is one thing that I am having really to focus on, is to ride her in a big powerful canter and keep her together, and it's still something that I don't find particularly easy, but it is getting better, and I do practice every day in the flat work to really ride her forward and bring her back, and that's something that's really important in our training. You can see I ride a much better distance there, but I'm still really not, I don't have enough right leg on. I'm letting her cut to the inside, and you'll see later on in the lesson my trainer actually puts a cavaletti in to force me to ride a correct line. This is something that I'm actually, after this training session, I'm going to work on with small poles and cavalettis, so that I can practice really the landing and keeping her straight on the landing, particularly on that right side where I let her fall in.
Really good. Think about what you have. Good. Inside leg. Good pressure on the stirrup. Keep waiting. Super. Nice. Sit down. Outside frame. Inside leg. Keep waiting. That's super. Nice. Super. Sit down. Yeah. That was this, then pull one more. That was good. Keep coming. Super. Continue, oxer. Keep this rhythm. Breathe, take a breathe, take a breath. Super, good. Sit down, take a breath, take a deep breath. Come up, back. Up, really good, sit down, take a breath again, relax. Yeah? Ah, that's difficult, shit, sorry. That didn't work.
I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of video. If you have any video requests, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching.